Shellcast.
Welcome to Shellcast, the podcast that's usually a beach break for your ears. But today we want to let you know about the recovery efforts that are going on in Lee County, Florida. We're here in Southwest Florida. We're located about 2 hours south of Tampa. I'm your host, Jacki Parker, and I work for the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau in promoting Fort Myers, islands, beaches, and neighborhoods. In this episode of Shellcast, we're on Fort Myers Beach. It's November 16th, and we're talking to locals about cleanup efforts that continue after Hurricane Ian, a Category 4 hurricane that slammed into Southwest Florida on September 28th. I'm out here on the beach right now at Fort Myers Beach, close to what used to be the pier that people could walk out on. The walking part of the pier is gone. The structure that goes into the water is here. Pelicans are perched up on top. It's kind of a cloudy day. I'm just off to the west, and it's I'm watching sand being poured. It looks like a pyramid almost behind me, with the bulldozers and the sand pouring on top. And there are a few people out, walking on the beach, but right now it's really for residents to come back and clean up and do recovery efforts. I'm out here on Fort Myers Beach talking to
Fritz.
Tom Fritz.
Yeah.
And Tom he lives in Fort Myers, over in the Gateway neighborhood. Didn't get a whole lot of damage from the hurricane, but what would you say to people who are coming down here for the first time, just to kind of prepare folks?
It's hard. It's really difficult. It's difficult for me.
You were saying this was your go-to beach.
Yep. Right there used to be Kabaskas. And when Charlie came through, it took out the Sandman. The silver lining was Kabaskas had a beachfront because you could look right across the street. And I was at the Yucatan today, and the Yucatan was doing the same thing. And, the Yucatan actually can see the water through Lynn Hall Park now, which they didn't do before. So that was sort of cool. But it's hard to see. I mean, you watch the videos, you watch your podcast, you see all the things that go on. Until you walk it, it's hard. It's hard just knowing the memories, the things that are there. Sorry.
No.
So
it's
Yeah, it's really something. The devastation of this storm. I mean, I've been through several, and this one is definitely something else. So I don't know what to tell people that are coming down here for the first time. I mean, they're going to see a lot of debris and a lot of devastation. But I was just at the Yucatan. Incredible resilience.
Yeah.
Wahoo Willie's.
Yeah, we were
you
just
got
there for lunch.
Bayfront Bistro.
Yeah.
You've got things popping up this soon after this kind of devastation. So it's incredible.
And and the incredible thing is as time goes on, more things are going to continue popping
They will.
up.
And there's a couple places that are going to pop back sooner than others. But this area right here, by the pier.
Yeah.
Incredible memories.
Yeah.
Been staying the last couple Augusts at the Edison house, looking back at the pier. I mean, that's been one of our staycations, and it's really something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll come back.
And you came down because you're hopeful.
I came down to try to support the folks that are trying to get their enterprises back going. To have the folks that are putting people on the tables, and they need an income.
They do.
So,
what'd you have for lunch?
Oh, had smoked wings.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Smoked wings are really, really good. And talked to a bunch of beach people down at Wahoo Willie's, and a couple of the gals that had actually been through the storm on the beach. So it's like, man, I mean, I didn't lose power in my place, so I felt pretty bad. But no, seriously, it's to think about what the folks have gone through, and but it'll come back.
It will. Tom, thank you for your time, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you for supporting the local business.
No worries. Have a good one.
Jacki Liszak, the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce president, has a unique perspective on Hurricane Ian and what it did to Fort Myers Beach.
Well, certainly first and foremost, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this, but the beach that you knew is not the beach that it is today. Everything has changed. The landscape's changed. Obviously, it's going to be hard to recognize where you are because landmarks are gone, buildings are gone, street signs are gone. And it's sometimes difficult to navigate, even for myself, being on the beach most of my life and knowing it really intimately, I find myself getting lost these days on occasion. So when folks are coming down to the beach, using caution and being careful when they're driving and moving about the beach is of utmost importance. Just not only not understanding where you are or figuring out where you are, but parking is severely limited. There is no public parking open at this time. There are different places you can park, by some of the restaurants that are open, but you have to be very, very cautious. You have to take your time, and there's still a lot of debris around, so you need to be careful when backing up or turning, or if pulling off of the road somewhere. You have to be mindful of your tires and what is around you at all times.
So, Jacki, we really have to be, I guess, careful in welcoming people and just, how far to extend that welcome. And I don't know a better way to say it, really.
True. It's a combination, I think. We've been fielding calls from people who want to help. And they feel like by coming down to have a meal or to watch sunset or something like that and spread a little bit of money around, they're helping. And they are. And that's valuable. But to your point, it's hard because the parking and all of the other challenges currently on the island.
Yeah. So it's really what is, I guess, how do you see the next couple of months playing out? I mean, here we are, November 16th.
Yeah. I see it getting better and better. If I'm away from the island for a day or two and I come back, I can already tell that it's cleaner. They've picked up stuff. Things are getting moved. People are working feverishly on their properties, and business owners are working really, really hard on their properties to get stuff picked up and organized and cleaned up. And so you can really see that. It is happening. But for the next couple months, we're going to continue to see, kind of 3 steps forward is a step back, 3 steps forward, a step back. Because once we're getting the storm debris itself picked up, then the buildings are going to have to start to come down, the ones that are so severely damaged they can't stay, and that's going to cause more debris yet again, right? I mean, so there's kind of this process that's going to go on for the foreseeable future as people are, navigating their way through insurance companies and FEMA and, adjusters and inspectors and all these things, because in between all of this, people are applying for building permits. So then you have contractors coming. So there's this kind of we're in this really interesting limbo spot right now, where, people are starting to be able to make decisions, but it's not as fast as all of us would like a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to throw this out at you for comment. In kind of in the good news department, as of right now, there are nearly 60% of the county's guest rooms have opened, which is about 8,500 hotel rooms.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
And
that's huge.
And that it is. And that's something where people could stay maybe at an inland property or someplace that they haven't stayed before and still come down to Fort Myers Beach, during the day.
Like a day tripper. Well, they're going to have to, because there's almost no lodging on the island. It's if I know of maybe 4 or 5 places, I'd be surprised that there's that many.
Yeah.
So they will have to stay in town, and you will have to be kind of doing a day trip mentality to come down for the afternoon. And I want folks to keep in mind too that they have to be mindful. This is not, you can't come down and go jumping into the Gulf waters. I mean, there's still debris on the beach. There's debris underneath the sand. The water itself, they're still working on testing and watching what's in the water to make sure that it's safe for folks to swim in and be in. So they really are recommending people do not swim in the Gulf yet. Mm-hmm. And that's a big part of this too, because I know people love to do that, as do I, but we need to be a little patient on that yet, and kind of let Mother Nature do her work for us.
When you come off the bridge and you go around the curve right there, there's almost like I want to call it a pyramid of sand. And the sand is being cleaned. Is that what's happening there?
That is what's happening there. They are pulling sand off of all of the roadways and the areas all around the beach, and it's going through a giant sifter. It's pretty fascinating to watch. And the sifter is sifting out all of the debris and particles and things like that. And then I was watching them the other day. They're taking that sand and then they're using it to help re-nourish the beach and fill in areas of the beach, because there were some areas that, were pretty scoured after the storm and had, big holes and cuts and stuff like that around the pier area, stuff like that. So they're using that cleaned up sand to kind of get it back out onto the beach and again, let Mother Nature, do her magic, which is so amazing that she does all the time by trying to fix, all of those issues with all the debris and everything. So, and that's been really fascinating to watch. They have put so much sand through those machines. It's incredible.
Yeah, I was watching it this afternoon, and it really was. I'm here at Fort Myers Beach, a couple of blocks off of the beach, with Bill Ignatti. He's the GM here at Wahoo Willie's. Thanks for being on the podcast, Bill.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
What do you want out-of-towners and locals even to know ahead of their visit to Fort Myers Beach?
Well, definitely be ready for a little bit of devastation. Obviously, when you come down here, it looks a lot different. There are some places that have been cleaned up pretty good. Our end down here is one of the spots that's definitely a little bit cleaner than most. And we just need some smiling faces and some happy customers right now. It just brings a lot of joy to us to be open, and everyone coming in seems to be extremely happy that we are open.
Yeah, we're here, midday lunch rush, and inside Wahoo Willie's, we've got a great tiki roof, and it's open air seating. I guess that's what you'd call it, right?
Definitely.
And it looks great. And there's just a lot of people. I mean, do you know any of these folks? Are they locals or mainly out of town?
We have had a lot of locals. We've also had a lot of people coming from North Fort Myers, Cape Coral, even Punta Gorda. I've had people driving down. They just want to see it and support the people that have made a big effort to get open this quickly.
And talk about this roof. Talk about this beautiful tiki.
Yeah, we,
roof.
I don't know if you know, but we had actually never really opened. We were supposed to open the day of the hurricane. So we did our friends and family the weekend before. We were going to close down and open the Wednesday of. We never opened. So the roof was brand new. And I think it held up so good, like we were speaking earlier. The water was so high that the wind wasn't really able to get under and push it off, because these roofs are actually made to fly off, and that's what they're sort of designed to do. So that way it doesn't mess up the structure, but the roof can come off and it won't cause a big issue.
Wow.
So,
and we're here right in the shadow of the San Carlos Bridge, Pass Bridge, and it's just a great location. And it's when did you open back up?
We opened Saturday. Saturday was our first day, so it's not even a week yet.
How's it been going so far?
It has been extremely a blessing, honestly, for how great the response of people coming down and just showing love to local people trying to be open and make a living.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Phil, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Peter Ennis, the owner of Wahoo Willie's down here on Fort Myers Beach, and we were talking a little bit about what people can expect.
Roads open to the public access from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. We don't know how long that will go on because, like we mentioned, it's so dark here at night. There's very few lights on. There's no street lights, very few buildings lit up. So for safety, we're asking everyone to leave by 6:30. But Fort Myers Beach is open for business, just open on a very small scale. There's certain, and the beach, the town council, they're doing what they can to try to help promote getting FPL turned on. They're so excited every time they get another 100, customers turned on with power. They feel better about what they're doing, and they feel better about the beach coming back. We had a lot of volunteers work from the new Bayside Park all the way out onto Old St. Carlos Boulevard, down 1st and 2nd Street, and it really is cleaned up. And since we've done that, the town of Fort Myers Beach has done a great job. They're bringing a sweeper by now. They've got rid of all the big piles of debris on the streets. So this street from Bayside Park almost to Times Square kind of looks almost like a street again.
Yeah. And, and this means, more time to spend at the restaurants that are open.
Correct.
That
Correct.
kind of thing. And there's more things that people can do, a little further inland, for now, but just if everybody can just be patient.
Exactly. And the community has really stepped up and tried to support businesses that are able to try to get open, or the ones that are going to be a while, 6, 12, 18 months or maybe longer to get open. But everyone's really behind each other to get Fort Myers Beach back up and running. So right now we're just working out of a food truck till we can get our kitchen open, till we can get back up and open.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well, the salad that I had with grilled chicken and beets was delicious.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, say your first and last name.
Jeff Stone.
And what part of New York?
Albany area.
Albany? And what's your name?
Diane Stone.
Okay, great. I'm here with Jeff and Diane Stone, and they're from the Albany, New York area, and they just had lunch at Yucatan's.
We used to come down, we used to stay down here all the time for a number of years. So we wanted to come down just to see what happened. We watched it on the news. We saw on the news that Yucatan's was open, and we wanted to come down and support the beach and support Yucatan. So I would just say the devastation is probably everything you would see on the national news and more. You can't believe it until you see it. But I think what's really interesting to me is the resilience of the people here. This place is incredible. They've got good food and they've got good beer and the service is great and everybody's having fun. So,
and you said you used to have a house here?
We used to rent. Okay. We used to rent over at the Royal Beach Club.
Okay.
Which is, we looked over there and it's now gone.
Yeah.
So it's just unbelievable. So we couldn't believe, So
what'd you have for lunch?
Well, beer.
Okay.
There were lots of options, but I had beer. So, but it was fun.
Good. And thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I'm out here on Fort Myers Beach with Tom Houghton. He's the owner of
La Ola Surfside Restaurant.
Right now it's a food truck, and it's just it's in the shadow of the San Carlos Pass Bridge. And the folks that you're feeding now, tell us about who's coming up.
Well, we are seeing a few of our customers that live here locally, but for the most part, we're feeding crews that are down here working on doing the cleanup and the reconstruction of our island. I was just sitting at a table with a crew of Comcast workers that are laying completely new infrastructure for the entire island, for example.
So it's a little early to have, there's really not a lot of places, if any, to stay, and there is a curfew, so it's a place to come down and support a local business for lunch, kind of, right now.
Yeah, I would say that's a good way to put it. We're open from 9 to 5 every day, for example, and we understand there is a curfew, so there's very little electricity on the island. It's not safe to be going out on the beach yet. It's great to come down and say hello and give us a hug, but it's not a time for going to the beach.
And it's slowly but surely, it seems like every week things are improving.
Yeah, today we're scheduled to have more trucks come in and clear out what's left of my bar, for example. There's still a wall laying on the entire length of it, which is covering up the electrical easement. So once they're able to remove all of that, we're hoping to be able to power up all the businesses here in the square.
Yep. And what's on your food truck, what's the most popular item?
Today I think it was cheeseburgers because I had to go run for supplies. But we do have a Mexican flair, burritos, tacos, quesadillas. So all of those items are quite popular. Yeah.
Tom, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I'm at Bayfront Bistro, and I'm talking to Rebecca Henderson, the general manager, and Cameron Roper, who's the host here, and a longtime resident of Fort Myers Beach. How long have you lived down here?
I moved down here from Massachusetts about 3 years ago. My family, or my mother's, been here about 8 years, and the house that she's at was my grandfather's since '62.
Okay. And we were talking earlier about we expected to see construction workers and things like that. People like that, workers, first responders here at the restaurant. But that's not what these folks look like.
No, it's a lot of our regulars, a lot of locals from all over, northern Florida, southern Florida, have come over to, support us. So it's been a lot of locals on the beach that didn't even know we were here have come out to support us. So it's been really great.
And because people listen to Shellcast all around the world, is there something that that people can do at home, or while things are still sort of in the rebuilding process, is there anything that they can do to support?
Really, there's some local restaurants that are supporting. We're doing our best to hire locals, people that were on the beach that lost their jobs. There are some local restaurants that have different things going on. Some restaurants are supporting local musicians, and other restaurants are supporting bartenders, letting them be guest bartenders. So there's kind of places all over that are supporting employees and local residents and stuff that have lost their homes.
I think a big thing, like you said, like people are listening to this all around the world, is the biggest thing I would say to help us is just keep coming down here for vacation. I mean, we're recovering a lot quicker than even I expected, and we're going to be back in one of the best vacation areas, in Florida very soon. So don't forget us as your vacation spots. There's still great places to be, and come down to Fort Myers Beach and support the island like you would normally vacation during the winter.
The Bayfront Bistro, it's a 2-level restaurant, and it overlooks Estero
The back bay.
The back bay.
The back bay.
Yep.
And when did you reopen?
We reopened Monday to November 7th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the most popular dish right now?
Everyone really likes the shrimp po' boy, the chicken Philly, and my personal favorite's the pasta bolognese.
All right.
Really,
Barbecue
really good.
pulled pork sandwich, definitely my
Yeah,
favorite at
that's
least. Now, I'm jaded from other restaurants because they only slow cook it for like 2 hours. Now, my dad slow cooked his for 6 hours, and I asked my head chef, Oscar, here, how long he slow cooked it. So they slow cook it for 5 hours. I was very impressed with it. It's my favorite dish. And I'm a buffalo chicken guy, but it beat that on the menu.
We have adjusted our menu prices. Like we were expecting it to be more of the hard hats and steel-toed boots, but so we adjusted some of our menu prices to be more accommodating, and also so that people that are local that have lost everything, can come out and still enjoy some normalcy, a nice drink, watch TV, because some people still don't have power, and I think everyone has water now. But so we have adjusted our menu, and we have a happy hour going on all day, just about upstairs and downstairs. We have our downstairs cabana bar right on the water. It's a little bit more casual atmosphere, and then we have upstairs AC and also an outside dining area for
normal. It is very, very normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people
you
are looking for right now.
You almost forget what happened.
Yeah.
You almost forget what happened.
Yeah, we're such a big restaurant. We have so much seating, and like Rebecca said, how we toned down the menu. We really wanted to open it up to all the contractors on their lunch break, all the way to the residents here that are demoing their house all day and just want to come either for a nice, upscale environment up in our dining room or outside on the patio. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you want to come here for a quick bite, our menus, reflects that, and we're accepting everyone. Everyone's allowed on Fort Myers Beach. So.
Great.
And we're happy to be part of the healing process on the beach. And
that's
we think that we are. We're definitely, people coming in. We see a lot of people coming in and just are like amazed. We have a line downstairs that showed where the water line was that says Ian was here. People are using it as a photo op. And it's just, it is hard to imagine that much water in one spot at a time.
No,
so.
it's been very nice as the first restaurant to reopen on Fort Myers Beach, that being able to give people that first sign of rebuilding and, a business back to normal, at least for a few hours for dinner, It's been great for that.
Well, good. Cameron, Rebecca, thank you for your time, and glad you're back in business.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And Jacki Liszak from the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce wanted to also talk about the possibility of volunteerism efforts in the future.
One of the things that I think we're going to see, based on a lot of anecdotal evidence and calls that I'm getting at the chamber, is something that I'm going to call volunteer tourism. And I find it fascinating that I am fielding calls every day from people who are saying, we are still coming in January, February, March, April, whenever. And while we're there, we know that the beaches may not be able to, do all the normal activities that you can do on the beaches. But while we're there, we want to volunteer. We want to spend every day that we're there on our vacation, not only sharing some of their, hard-earned, money and spreading that around to the community, but they want to spend every day volunteering somewhere with an organization, a local organization, to help give back. And I think this is a fascinating trend. I would love to be able to see how we can get our arms around that and how many people actually come to do that, because I'm talking to at least one person, if not more, every day who is telling me that's what they would like to do, and who can they reach out to and who can they call to set up those volunteer days while they're here.
And what is your answer right now?
Depending on when you're coming, we have a number of really great organizations that are working on the ground. It's changing as we go. I'm sure by March and April, our Buttonwood location that's taking donations and handing out donations, that may be winding down. But one of the places I'm sending them to is Keep Lee County Beautiful. Like, people are coming with groups of folks. I fielded 2 different groups today, and Keep Lee County Beautiful will be organizing beach cleanups and bay cleanups and things like that in the February, March, April timeline. And so I'm forwarding them to that, because those will be great opportunities for volunteering. Also to United Way, because, they're kind of the overarching organization that can manage the whole region, not just us out on the beach, but other areas that also may need help. So those are 2 that are kind of in mind right now that we've been kind of talking about. And I'm sure by that time there'll be others that we can certainly point people in the right direction.
Yeah, it sounds like by then the need will have grown, and there'll be projects that people can help with.
Oh, absolutely. And it will have shifted, I'm sure, too. It will probably shift a number of times between now and then as we go along through this process and we find out, what we're needing or how things are progressing.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell listeners while I've got you here?
Wow, the biggest thing is a totally heartfelt thank you to everyone who has donated, sent a supply, spent some time down here helping, is coming to help, because there's still people who are coming to help, to people who have prayed for us, to people who have, cheered us on from afar, and to everyone who loves our little slice of paradise in our 7 Mile Island. Those of us who live and work here and have businesses and homes and raise our families here, we can't say thank you enough to those folks. The response has been incredible from the federal level down. We've made some amazing friends and out of it with people who have been coming to help, and the human spirit is just incredible. And I want people to really know that we're so, so, so grateful and thankful for all of that help.
Well, I can tell how much you appreciate it. Most definitely.
It's hard so I don't get too choked up,
I know. Well, Jacki Liszak, the president of the Fort Myers Beach Chamber of Commerce, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We're all pulling for Fort Myers Beach.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay. If you're looking for ways to help, please check out our website at visitfortmyers.com to find out more about the Southwest Florida Relief Fund, managed by the United Way of Lee, Hendry, and Glades, and the Collaboratory. Shellcast, the award-winning podcast of the Fort Myers Islands, Beaches, and Neighborhoods, is produced by the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau in Fort Myers, Florida. It's also available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I'm Jackie Parker. Thank you very much for listening to Shellcast, and we'll catch you again next time.
Shellcast.